Hi, folks. Welcome to the Daily Drive-By. I've got a special warning for Tea Partiers. A warning for Tea Partiers that think they know who they're voting for and don't. Tea Partiers that think they found a good, conservative, constitutional Republican that will watch after their money and don't. You got to know your enemy, people. And your enemy is not necessarily the progressive Democrats. The enemy is not necessarily Obama. You might look around and find out you voted for your enemy the last time around because you weren't paying attention. I'm going to give you a couple examples right here in Georgia, where I'm from. Down in LaGrange, Georgia, there's a member of the House of Representatives. I don't know what the district number is down there. His name's Len Westmoreland. And I know one or two Tea Partiers from down there in LaGrange. They love him. They think Len Westmoreland's just the best thing since sliced bread, that he watches after their money, that he's a good constitutional conservative. Bullshit. If Len Westmoreland was a constitutional conservative, then why was he off spending tax dollars on a junket to China with his wife at taxpayer expense over the Labor Day break? That's not constitutional. Know your enemies, people. That's a problem we've got in Congress. When you survey people all over this country, they'll tell you, yeah, Congress is the problem. Only 9% of us think Congress is doing a good job, but they always follow it up with, except for my representative, he does a good job. Bullshit. Len Westmoreland's a good example of a representative that doesn't do a good job, that is not a constitutional conservative, and that pisses away money just as fast as the progressive Democrats. On the Senate side, I'm going to stay right here in Georgia. I'm going to talk about both of my senators here in Georgia. Saxby Chambliss and Johnny Isakson, both of them. Good conservatives, right? Matter of fact, Johnny Isakson, you know how he was elected to the Senate? By defeating Herman Cain. That was a mistake we made in Georgia. That was 20 years ago. Anyway, let's talk about those two senators. You know, those good conservatives that watch after our money? No, they watch after their corporate interest, and that's it. Two examples. First example is sort of spread out over the last several years. We got a little company here in Georgia called Lockheed Martin down there in Marietta. They make airplanes. They're the prime contractor on the F-22 Raptor. F-22 Raptor is a kick-ass plane. It's also expensive as hell. It's also a plane that the Pentagon says they don't want, the Air Force says they don't want, the Joint Chiefs of Staff say they don't want, and the Defense Department says they don't want. But despite efforts to kill it, Isakson and Chambliss have just always voted to keep it going. It's not a needed plane. You know why they vote to keep it going? Jobs program keeps people working down there in Marietta at Lockheed. And when they save somebody's job at Lockheed, they get votes. They're just buying votes with your tax dollars. Folks, the Defense Department's budget is to defend the country. It is not a jobs program. That's all Isakson and Chambliss are using the F-22 program and subsidies to Lockheed for. A jobs program. Give you another example, a lot more recent. Senator Tom Coburn from Oklahoma introduced a bill, a bipartisan supported bill several weeks back, to cut farm subsidies. Not all of them. They should all be cut. They're not constitutional. But all he wanted to cut was subsidies to farmers who had an adjusted gross income of over $1 million. Adjusted gross income, not a gross income. But after you take out all the expenses, after you take out all the deductibles, your bottom line, they made over $1 million. And it was going to cut the subsidies to people that made over $1 million. 84 senators voted for that bill. That leaves 16 that didn't, and I don't know who 14 of them are. I do know that the two from Georgia, Johnny Isakson and Saxby Chambliss, I do know they voted for those, voted to keep those subsidies. They were in the 16 that didn't support cutting subsidies to people that make over $1 million. And you know why? Because they don't give a rat's ass about the people in this state. They care about their corporate agriculture buddies, people like ConAgra, Dean Foods, Tyson. That's why they voted to keep them. Because they don't care about you and they don't care about me. They care about who fills their pockets with money. It's time we kicked out these sons of bitches that call themselves conservatives but are nothing but representatives of special interest. Know your enemy, people. They're not on the other side of the fence. They're not the progressive Democrats. The enemy of the Tea Partiers are the people right in your backyard. The same people that when you say, I hate Congress, but my guys are good, take a look at your guys. They're probably your enemy.